Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Law & Order Legacy. Let's continue. So, we've uncovered an underground cockfighting ring and gambling, and we kind of know where the story is going to go.
This ought to go down quick and painless.
They changed scenes
kill me, you know, when he finds out I'm
just to make this guy call the person we think.
As long as you play it cool and take your cues from us.
Yeah?
Ricardo, it's Wang.
Hey, what's the matter, man? You sound funny.
So we're just gonna tell him, let's see, what do we want to do? We want to get him to suspect that the cops came and left, and that it's getting dangerous, so he needs to do something to cover his tracks so we can follow him and find evidence.
Cops had me worked up, but they're gone.
The cops, they worked me over pretty hard.
But you didn't say nothing.
No, I held firm. They're gone now.
They find anything?
Be casual, be nervous. Yeah, we want to make him nervous.
Yeah, they're onto you.
Yeah, afraid so. They know everything.
Ay, diablo.
Nope, I guess not.
So what am I supposed to do, man? We got another fight coming Tuesday. You know I can't cancel it. I'm on the hook to Menendez. $5 grand, man, and I'm broke.
Suggest a new, better location. I guess we'll try that.
Hold the fight in a new location.
Better not hold the fight at the shop. Too risky. You gotta find a new location.
Where, man? I don't know nobody with that kind of space.
Tell them you do.
I do. My cousin Lou runs a body shop in Park Slope. Let me talk to him.
See, you're a pal, man.
Now, tell him you'll meet him later.
Let's meet up later once everything's squared away.
Where?
Let's see. Meet at the shop or a neutral location? I guess the neutral location is probably the one they want you to pick.
Somewhere by Pulaski Bridge, 6 p.m.
That street corner. Over by the bodega and the pharmacy. On 21st by Pulaski Bridge. Around 6?
See, sounds like a plan. See you there.
You done good.
What's funny is that they may very well be acting out of their own jurisdiction and having characters move crimes to other precincts of the police, or have the witnesses travel and be arrested by in areas. I'm not so familiar with Manhattan that I know that for a fact.
Over here.
But it probably wouldn't
Wang
matter
is
too much.
indisposed at the moment. Ricardo Guzman, you are under arrest for the murder of Neil Jensen. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Another
Mr.
example
Guzman doesn't dispute
of
the
a
cockfighting
scene
charges. We're prepared
that
to
was
plead
just
guilty on
pointless.
that.
Está insultando la República Dominicana.
Let me. My client is not a murderer, Mr. McCoy. Mr. Jensen died as a result of an accident.
An accident?
That
He
is not
attempted
what
to
he
handle
said.
an armed bird, and he lost control of it.
Really?
That's not what he said at all.
Unbelievable. A man gets carved up like a side of beef. Guzman lets him slowly bleed to death, then dumps him on a doorstep and expects to walk away.
I checked with the Dominican consulate.
And?
He's wanted there for drug running and armed robbery.
Well, I want him here for murder.
Is it possible it really was an accident?
Why?
Doesn't matter. Neil Jensen didn't have
Doesn't the
to die. Guzman
Dominican
had 2
execute
hours to
for
get
drug
out and
running and armed
honestly
robbery?
stood by.
Anyways?
Murder 2, depraved indifference.
So he wants us to get murder too. The defense must be desperate. They're putting Guzman on the stand. Harlan Fitzpatrick is a good defense lawyer. He'll try to make Guzman appear sympathetic using a number of rhetorical tricks. Your job is to object when he gets out of line. Leading is when the defense attorney puts words in the defendant's mouth to help his case. You can often tell a leading statement because it ends with a question. Am I right? Do you mean? Don't you mean? Asked and answers when the lawyer gets his client to repeat an answer for dramatic effect. Listen closely for repetition of things you've heard before.
Mr. Guzman, when did you first meet Neil Jensen?
Maybe a year ago, I guess.
It was really
Who
quick
initiated the
to
relationship?
get into this part.
You or him?
He did. I
We
wanna
really
have no
didn't do
part
too
in it,
much with
man,
the
not at
police.
first. What I do, I gotta be careful who I let in. Can bring trouble, you know? Especially a white guy.
Mr. Jensen came to you with an offer, is that right?
Yeah, he had a bird, and he wanted me to help him raise it and fight it.
And at first you said no?
That's right.
Would you like to object? Let's go ahead and try. I was gonna go with leading, but that's not it. And I can't even withdraw, so one of these has to be... This must be asked and answered.
Objection. Asked and answered.
We're playing as this guy.
That. What convinced you to take Neil Jensen under your wing, as it were, in spite of your suspicion?
That's one of those objections you really wouldn't do.
Make it out to be, you know?
It's a more civilized practice than people realize, you mean.
Would you like to object? Sure. Leading.
Objection. Leading.
Sustained. Strike that.
What sort of sentiments did Mr. Jensen express to you?
Well, like, caulking's a real sport. It takes dedication and discipline. And you know, it can teach you a lot about life if you let it.
So you agreed to keep the bird and help him raise it?
See, together we raised El Jefe, and together we conditioned him to fight. He was a good bird.
Here's another trick. Speculation is when a witness is allowed to theorize or imagine a scenario and present it as evidence. Defense may encourage this to make Neil Jensen look bad.
Why don't you tell us, in your own words, what happened on the night of Tuesday, May 5th?
Well, Neil come in that night really keyed up, man, like super keyed up. He was jumping all around. I think maybe he was on something.
Yes.
Objection. Speculation.
Sustained. Strike that from the record. Watch
Oddly,
yourself, Mr.
misleading
Guzman.
the jury
Please
is
confine
probably
your
not a real
description to
objection.
actual events.
Go on.
Well, he was excited, you know, because El Jefe was finally gonna fight. There were some other birds up first, but he couldn't sit and watch, man, pacing around, till his turn finally came. Okay, I tell him, I'm the handler. I'm experienced at this stuff. Let me do it.
Get the bird into the ring.
The pit, yeah. It could be dangerous, you know, especially with the long heel.
A long blade attached to the rooster's spur.
Right, but Neil wouldn't hear nothing I was saying, man. Being he was a rider, he had to do everything himself. Well, anyway, he's yelling about how he had to be the one to handle El Jefe. I told him don't. I ordered him even, but he really got in my face about it, man, so I had to back down. Then he went for the rooster, like he was going for a football or something. Grabbed it around the neck. You understand, this is a bird was being conditioned to fight. The bird goes crazy.
It attacked Neil Jensen. Naturally, you were horrified.
Let's see. Object. Religious beliefs not proof of character. Leading again, misleading the jury. I don't even think these two are real objections.
Objection. Leading.
Sustained.
How did you feel?
Horrified, naturally.
As we approach the part of testimony where Guzman will describe Neil's wounds, be on the lookout for statements that would require medical training to back this up. This can be objected to on the grounds of no expert knowledge. Honestly, this jury section, this court case section, is teaching me and tutorializing me more than the first one, and it feels like this should have happened first.
I made a grab for the bird and got it.
Putting yourself in considerable danger in the process, I imagine.
Would you like to object? Leading.
Objection. Leading. Counsel is putting words in the witness's mouth.
Withdrawn.
But by the time I got the rooster under control, the damage was done.
I see. So what then? What did you do for him?
I wrap a blanket around him to try stop the bleeding, you know?
Did you think to take him to the hospital?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do, but he told me not to. He wanted me to take him home.
Mr. Jensen asked you to take him home.
His wounds, I mean, he was cut up pretty bad, but not so bad as all that. He should have pulled through, no problem.
What's funny here is, if I was writing this story, I would like to see it revealed that he would have survived, but it was his wife that somehow killed him. But for Law and Order, I think they play everything completely straight. I don't think there's ever going to be any twist. I think it's always an assumption that who you think is the guilty party is the guilty party. There's no surprises. I'm going to object to medical, no expert knowledge.
Objection. No expert knowledge. Considering the outcome, I think we can conclude that Mr. Guzman's assessment of the situation is off.
Sustained. Facts only, Mr. Guzman.
You swore on the Bible you'd tell the truth, Mr. Guzman.
I'm telling the truth. I panicked maybe. You would have done the same. But I did what Neil asked me to do.
Why is the defense
would
attorney?
save his life.
Your witness, Mr. McCoy.
All these. For his testimony, your jury sides with the prosecution plus 60. The jury is leaning toward your case. I kind of wonder, though, if a closing argument may eventually just remove all 100 points and put us back down to neutral, and then we have to make an amazing closing argument to win. That's probably not going to happen here, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happened at the end on the final episode. Prosecution is ready to cross-examine, focus on the inconsistencies of evidence and his callous disregard for Jensen. Stay away from tricky issues like his past life or the cultural bias against cockfighting. Let's see. The time of the incident is probably a good question.
The incident in question occurred on the night of May 5th.
That's right. Maybe 1:45.
1:45. And you say you acted to save him?
Of course I acted. I tried to help him right there, and when I couldn't help him, I took him home, like he asked me to.
That took 15 minutes, though. Is that consistent with the time of death? Because 1:45 a.m. he showed up on the doorstep in 15 minutes. Can you get anywhere in New York in 15 minutes, though? And I don't think either one of them has a car. Not in New York. I think it wants me to say yes, but I would actually say no. Interesting. Well, that blew that. Let's go with...
You knew it was dangerous for Neil Jensen to handle his own rooster.
Sure, it was dangerous. When those birds are ready to fight, man, they're ready to fight.
Then why didn't you stop him?
I tried, man, but like I said, he wouldn't take no for an answer.
No. Doesn't contradict. He's being consistent. Guzman testified earlier he tried to stop Neil. Interesting, the names are backwards here, just in case you're not paying enough attention. Still haven't seen the two people on the edges here of the picture. How's your relationship with Jensen?
Mr. Guzman, you took Mr. Jensen into your confidence, initiated him into your illegal activities. Knowing your new disciple was a writer, didn't you worry that he'd give the game away, expose your ring, and force you to shut down operations?
Well, sure I was worried, but he promised me he'd keep quiet. And he wouldn't write anything neither, unless I okayed it first.
And you trusted him?
Yeah, he respected me,
Hmm.
man.
Did Jensen disobey Guzman at any point? Yes, he did. Click that.
Well, it doesn't seem like he respected you very much on the night he died. I mean, he defied you. He disobeyed your orders to stay away from the rooster.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
And now we have a new juror.
Final moments, shall we? Maybe this time we can get the facts
That
straight.
juror
You drove
looks
Neil
maybe a
Jensen
little
home,
familiar from The Walking Dead.
and you dropped him off at the door. What time was that? 4 o'clock?
And
More like
a couple of these people
Stay
could
with him
easily
till he was
been
safely inside?
changed into characters in The Walking
No,
Dead.
you dumped him there and took off. Why, Mr. Guzman?
I heard a baby crying as I was coming up the walk with Neil, and I saw a light turn on, so I knew she was up. I was sure she was gonna come down and get Neil.
Yes?
But I didn't want to have to be there and explain it all to her, you know?
No, I expect you didn't. No further questions.
A long length of discussion there to have no questions. For this testimony, the jury is on the fence, so I didn't really gain much. Now's the time to put Ellie on the stand and talk to her about her husband Neil and the horrible events of May 5th. No reason to ask tough questions, just have her recount her experience, generate some sympathy, but try to avoid any mentions of Neil's shady nightlife or speculation about his death.
Want to take this one, Abby?
The people call Ellie Jensen to the witness stand.
In the same shirt she was in before.
Mrs. Jensen, tell us how you discovered your
Audio's
husband on the
messing
night
up
in
again.
question. Well, I heard a sort of a thunk coming from outside the front door. Did it wake you up? No. No, it wasn't loud enough for that, but luckily I was awake. Noah, my baby, had just waked me for his usual feeding. That at least conforms to Mr. Guzman's testimony. What condition was your husband in when you found him? It was horrible. He was covered in blood, and he had this look in his eyes like he knew he was dying. I kept saying, "Who did this to you? Who did this to you?" But all he could do was move his mouth. I think he was saying, "I'm sorry." And there was nobody with him? Nobody. He was all alone. Now this is crucial. Mrs. Jensen, what time did you discover your husband? Just before 4 a.m. You're absolutely sure? Yes. I glanced at the clock when my baby cried at 5 minutes too. He always wakes up at the same time. Thank you, Mrs. Jensen.
What's funny though
So you
is
finally come around, eh, Harlan?
he wakes up at
you wanna look at it,
3:55
Great.
a.m.
What do you
and
No
3:55
jail
p.m.
time. Mr. Guzman pays a fine and does 12 months probation.
Come on, he killed a man.
Actually, a rooster killed a man.
He sat idly by for 2 hours and let an innocent man bleed to death.
Probation, no way. Make your counter off. The charge of murder applies if you feel Guzman acted in premeditated and calculated fashion when he let Jensen bleed to death. A charge of manslaughter applies if you feel Guzman acted recklessly, therefore caused Jensen to die, but didn't directly plan on that outcome. So, the thing here is we could make a plea of manslaughter 1, but we should just go with no deal, because we probably will still get a conviction. The only thing here that makes any sense is to play like an actual prosecuting attorney and think of things that you probably shouldn't consider when making an offer like this. Things like, how heavy is my caseload? How many other cases do I have to work on? How much of the taxpayers' dollars am I going to spend on this trial? Because for every hour one of these prosecuting attorneys is out there, they're getting paid by taxpayers to be in the court and all of that. So it's arguably better for society to make plea deals and just make it be efficient and be done with it. Particularly since you probably know as a prosecutor that even if you get something like manslaughter 2, which is what I think we're shooting for, we can go back and actually look. The parole system and probation system would probably still lower the amount of time he would spend. See, and he wants murder 2, depraved indifference. So it's not even manslaughter 2, it's murder 2. So we'll make murder 2 as our plea, since that's what he wants.
Murder 2, depraved indifference homicide, 20 years to life.
It's a deal. Nice doing business with you, Jack.
That's what we
Good
wanted.
work, Jack.
And
You
we're
managed to put a pin in that case without dragging it out.
I wasn't sure Guzman was gonna go for it. That guilty plea hung on his lips for about 5 minutes, it seemed like.
Probably still considers himself innocent. A mind can rationalize just about anything.
Wow, that was quick.
Counselors, I just wanted to thank you for putting Neil's killer behind bars. He deserved a longer sentence, if you ask me. Surely, but, well, I can't dwell on that. Vengeance. It's not healthy. Life goes on, you know?
Vengeance might
That's
not be
odd.
healthy, but it's sometimes necessary. Guzman got off.
That's very odd.
Let it go, Jack. We got another
And why would you
60
bring a
cases
baby?
lined up this month alone.
Why bring a baby to a
How about we
courthouse?
grab lunch? You still on that diet?
Nope. Ditched the health food. And, Julia.
Right on schedule.
And I feel great.
Any preferences?
Nope, I'm up for anything. Except chicken. For some reason that doesn't appeal to me today.
So, episode 2, incredibly short. Barely an hour, really, going on here. If we can skip this, I think I would prefer to skip it. Yes, right-clicking eventually did that. We don't need to look at this, to look at all the credits for every single episode, even if it is different people that are potentially playing or writing elements. Honestly, I couldn't even really feel too bad if I shortchanged credits on people that wrote this game, because it's not written very well. You're better off not taking this. So, percentage complete 100, total score 31 of 38. Detective and assistant DA offer plea. Offered plea, yes, we did, just to save time. Whereas this first time we didn't offer a plea. I could have been ace detective though. There must be something even above ace detective. The executive DA. Well, assistant DA. So we did worse, and I imagine we're just gonna do worse and worse. And then here, we're just gonna go ahead and start and not spend much time on it. Two serial killers point the finger at each other to avoid a conviction in court. Mike Logan assists. And we start as a rookie and an intern, and there are 58 scores versus this previous one, which was, well, no, interesting. Look, there's a bug here. When I click this, it takes you to episode 3, Killer Smart, but it should be taking you to episode 2, Home to Roost, which only had 38 things. Wow. Telltale really sucks at making games. They hide it pretty well, but just general bugs, general bad programming, general lack of being able to do anything in their games is really amazing. I guess we'll just start. Loading screen.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Their stories.
Baby, you need to come bring me something to eat, cause I'm starving. What do you mean I can't eat out on the corner? I'm professional. You got me out here in stilettos and booty shorts, and I can't eat out here because it's unprofessional?
Her face looks pretty old.
Oh, no.
What do we got?
Prostitute. Looks like a homicide. Signs of sexual assault and strangulation. Bruise marks on her neck and a few popped blood vessels in her eyes.
Any witnesses?
Working girl. I thought I'd let you question her.
So we have to bring in
Looks like someone beat me to it.
sexual assault so that the character on the left, is involved.
You guys wouldn't know where the nearest cash machine is around here, would you?
Mike Logan?
So is Mike Logan one of the police, or is he a suspect in the previous case? Maybe Law and Order, at least some of them, was filmed in New York, and that might explain why there's such small scenes.
I thought you retired.
Yeah,
that's
well,
what
I
they
heard the same thing about you.
That's what they do in
Detective
Hong Kong
Olivia.
filming.
Good to finally meet you, Detective.
Sometimes, since Hong Kong is so full of people and so noisy all the time that you could only get a few lines of dialogue in an area before it just becomes too noisy. Although nowadays mostly they just dub over everything, so it's 100% dubbed, even though they were speaking the same language, just to get rid of the noise. That might explain some of these scenes. It doesn't explain why any of this goes into the game. It's just, I guess, become an artistic style that would feel very odd if you were to do something called Law and Order and it doesn't feel like the Law and Order TV show. I would say this actually probably does feel like the Law and Order TV show, except for the fact that everything is just animated, and I imagine most fans of Law and Order wouldn't want to see the animated versions of this. Honestly, you don't even need that. Full motion video games have been around for decades. They could have literally just filmed the actual actors and actresses and then cut up clips of that. You ask a question, it plays a clip if you ask it, when you ask it, and then plays back the response. There's not even sections in this game where you can accuse somebody incorrectly. So it would be incredibly easy to translate this into full motion video and not even pay animators at all, which they barely paid any animators.
What brings you down here?
I'm working a lead on the Massapequa Mangler case. His first victim, prostitute named Angelica Moore. She was killed in my jurisdiction about 9 months ago. Been on it ever since.
Well, we appreciate the help.
We don't need it, but we appreciate it.
Apparently this guy doesn't like him. Interesting. Who works on a murder case for 9 months? He must be in some kind of cold case division or something. Or suspended to a desk or something like that. Like, I don't even know if Law and Order, though, would specifically have somebody that was a dirty cop. And was that this guy? Is he the new guy that we've introduced? Because we've seen this guy, and we've seen these two, and we've seen her, so it kind of has to be him. Well, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.